Just taking warning. Good evening. It's my pleasure to be able to welcome everybody, and it's just wonderful seeing all these faces and names appear of people that I know and love, and yeah, and we're here this evening to celebrate those who are taking the precepts. And one of the things that we do in our Sangha, in our community, is we support each other and we hold each other upright. And that's what we're doing this evening. We're all sitting together, encouraging each other. And today also happens to be Hapsu, so beginning of the celebration of Buddha's enlightenment. So it feels really appropriate that we're celebrating in many ways. And we're going to have a full evening, really. I just wanted to mention the fact that, this Precept program has been going for quite a while now. And I just wanted to acknowledge what a joy it has been for me personally to be part of the team, if you like, that has been had the privilege of facilitating the program with many people. And as I sit here in the front, if you like, and you can see me, but you can't, you will meet the other people, there'll be Jan and Duncan and Claire, and we've been the kind of key Precept team. And then of course there's Josh and Trudy. There's so many people who make this evening happen, and then all of you, and it's just wonderful. So I'm going to give a little outline of what we're going to do, and many of you will be familiar with the Sangha meetings, but if you're not, just to say that we will have, through the process, we begin usually with a sit, and that will be for about 15 minutes. So first of all, Josh will light the incense, and as our entrusted teacher, he begins the evening, if you like. He opens the Zendo for us. He opens our sitting space for us, and we will just follow each other. Really, we will follow the process, and there are various verses that we will say. Duncan is leading many of the verses as we go through, and we'll put them up on screen. So if there's anyone who's not familiar with them, just follow in your own space if you wish to do so. And of course, we bow to each other. We bow from time to time, and the bowing really, I think, is kind of in humility and recognition that most of the time we're bowing in deep respect, and we're bowing to life as it is. It's a way of saying, yes, this is life. And so we will move through the evening, and eventually, after we've said a few verses and we've sat for about 15 minutes, we will listen to a talk by Flint, who is our guiding teacher, and he will introduce the significance of this ceremony and this taking of the precepts, and acknowledge really the journey of each person as they arrive at this place. Although it's not really, when I say that, it's kind of like we're doing it this evening, but it's never it's an ongoing process. It's a lifetime process, but this is a place where people have committed to taking the precepts into their lives and living them. And so then we'll have the ceremony itself after Flint's talk, and Josh, our entrusted teacher, will be leading that. And each student will have things that they have to answer as he goes through that ceremony. It's a lovely, simple but profound ceremony. And then after that, there's an opportunity for people to say something about each person. So each person taking the precept will have a supporter, if you like, somebody encouraging them, who will say a few warm words about that person and their practice, very briefly. And then we'll all have an opportunity to say something, and that will be, sort of led in the way that we usually do, where people will raise their hands and say something. And then Jan and Claire are saying a few things about the actual program, and then we'll be finishing with a couple of verses. And of course, we will have to say the Bodhisattva vow, because that is at the center of our precept practice and our whole practice, really. So in a moment or two, we're going to do the opening of the Zendo and our sitting practice. And really sitting, we simply sit in stillness, and it is just sitting upright, sitting still. And one of the things that Kobun Chino Roshi said was that, life is so profound and so amazing, and such a I don't know that word, such an experience that we need to sit down for a while and be still. So we sit in stillness, and we support each other in our sitting. And then along the way, you will find that there are bells, and the bells usually indicate indicate the end of one thing and the beginning of another. So there'll be the bells at the beginning of sitting, and Duncan is offering the bells, and we will they kind of act as that sort of, right, we're going on to the next thing now. So I think that covers most of it. I'm hoping I've said most of what we're going to be doing. I just want to say how wonderful it is to sit with you all, and this whole practice that we are involved in is a practice about being together. It's about supporting each other and how we can best be together. And that's what the whole Precept program is about, really. How we can be the best of ourselves and how we can be the best together. So thank you. I'm going to pass over now to Josh, who's going to open the Zendo.
We'll now say the verse of the robe. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Now say the verse of intention. My intention equally permeates every being and place with the true merit of Buddha's way. So now we're going to watch a video and hear Flint, our guiding teacher, who's prepared a talk which really introduces the Precepts Ceremony and what it means and why we do it. And he also discusses some of the significance of what the ceremony is all about. So,
greetings, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to make a few comments at the beginning of this wonderful ceremony. The sixth ancestor of Zen, Huining, said in translation something like, "It is precisely Buddhist conduct that is the Buddha." And this means that both the foundation and the expression of true practice can be seen in terms of conduct, of behavior. That is our lived relations with others, not according to any individual's attainments or some states of consciousness. Many of you are familiar with Suzuki Roshi's expression of this teaching when he said, strictly speaking, there are no enlightened individuals, only enlightened activity. So practicing awareness, as we do in Zazen, naturally awakens in us maybe a challenge or an aspiration to see clearly the impact we have on others and on the world around us. And it helps us recognize that we're always making choices about our conduct in the world. The relational quality of lived experience, this relational quality, is the complete function of being a Buddha, which rests in our liberating, intimate encounter and interaction with all beings. Our practice does rest on a deeply ethical foundation, and the Buddha taught the principles of ethical living throughout his 45 years of teaching to every audience he encountered, from farmers to his disciples to kings and queens. And although Buddhist precepts parallel the ethical teachings of every major wisdom tradition in every world religion, in many ways, Buddhism is unique in the way the precepts are presented. Rather than reflecting moral judgments or declarations of what is good or bad, right or wrong, the Buddha taught an active process of investigation and inquiry into that which is wholesome and that which is unwholesome. The definition of what is wholesome is simply that which leads towards liberation and well-being for oneself and others. Rather than setting out rules or commandments, the Buddha urged his followers to investigate for themselves their own words, thoughts, and actions, and to discover their qualities and consequences. This very process is stepping onto the Buddhist path. Once we engage these practices and step onto this path, there's no end to this practice. And the precepts are always there to be used as guides, as supports, as encouragements, as a trellis on which our practice can flourish. They're not to be used as criticisms or judgments about our life or the lives of others. In fact, the precepts are actually a clear description of the way an ordinary person would live his or her life when their heart and mind are open. We're all invited to join with all beings in this unending path of awakening and compassionate care. You will probably note that this unending path is reflected in the ceremony that's to come, when the teacher will ask the students to affirm that they will continue their practice even after great liberation, even after great awakening. The precepts remain alive only through our living and practicing them. So today we're celebrating the completion of the profound study of the precepts taught by the Buddha. With us are those students who have committed themselves to living the path of these precepts, and the vow, alongside the mentors and spiritual friends and family members who have been guides along the way. This ceremony both expresses the vow and invites us to continue to support each other along this path. And I would invite you and all of us to think of this ceremony as having three facets, which of course are the three faces of the triple treasure of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. First, the Buddha. This ceremony, the entire ceremony really is an expression of Buddha nature. The transformation that more deeply connects and commits us personally and intimately to the Bodhisattva vow. And in the process to waking up to the Buddha that we are, that we always and already are. It's this aspect of deep and personal transformation in which we realize our own nature as that of a Buddha. The second facet is the Dharma. The teachings conveyed in this ceremony, the teachings of the precepts and the Bodhisattva vow, and the connection through the teachings to our Zen ancestors are very profound. Over the course of your study of the precepts, for example, one would immerse oneself deeply in the meaning of the precepts in our own everyday lived lives, and you will begin to hear a bit of the personal reflections that these students have made later on in the ceremony. And these teachings are offered through the ceremony to all those who witness it, instructing and reminding us of our compassion, clarity, and wisdom. This is the Dharma. This is the way to live a life in harmony with all beings. This is the embodiment of the Dharma through the precepts. And the third facet of the triple treasure, of course, is the Sangha. Ceremonies are very important in the life of any community. They bring us together, celebrate the transformations and turning points, not only of each celebrant, but of our whole community of practice. we come to know our community and its members as warmly connected not only to each other, but to the deep spiritual nourishment that's offered by the Dharma. Our Sangha reminds us who we can best be together, the path that we share, supporting and encouraging and celebrating each other. And just as there is a deepening of our personal realization, the Sangha too deepens its collective realization, its place in the world, and our collective aspirations to meet the world. So I would invite you to open your minds and your hearts for this purpose as we enter the ceremony. Here are a few additional words from Shohaku Okamura's wonderful book, Living by Vow, in which he reflects on the Bodhisattva vow, which is at the center of our practice. Remember, we've been studying and practicing the Bodhisattva precepts, the description of how a Bodhisattva would live in support of and as a reflection of the vow. Okamura says, all Mahayana practice is based on the Bodhisattva vow. The vow has two aspects: becoming a Buddha and helping all beings become a Buddha. These two cannot be separated. We vow to become Buddhas together with all beings, and the Bodhisattva vow is an essential point in Mahayana teachings and practice. I would probably say, slightly differently, that these two aspects are realizing our nature as a Buddha and assisting others in realizing their Buddhahood rather than becoming. But later on, Okamura says, vow is essential for all bodhisattvas. In fact, part of the definition of a bodhisattva is a person who lives by vow instead of by karma. Karma means habit, preferences, or a ready-made system of values. And as we mature, as we grow, we learn a system of values from the culture around us, which we use to evaluate the world and to choose actions. This is karma. And living by karma. But in contrast, a bodhisattva lives by vow. And vow is like a magnet or a compass that shows us the direction toward the awakened heart and mind. In this way, of course, is not based on preferences. It's based on following a deep principle and vow rather than preference. So please, dear Sangha members, friends, allow yourself to receive this ceremony and these dedicated students with an open heart. Allow your own heart and mind to be renewed as we engage the vows which we share, and through this ceremony, recommit to taking up the practice of helping each other along the unending path of living a wholesome and wholehearted life. Thank you very much, and I offer my deep and sincere congratulations to each of you who have followed this path of study and are taking these vows today, and to the entire Sangha in the way that I'm inspired and encouraged in my own practice, which assists me in renewing my deeper commitment through your actions and your vow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Flint, for that introduction to our evening. And it's wonderful to be in this seat, to have been invited to lead this ceremony this evening. And Flint mentioned being inspired and encouraged by the people who move towards living by vow. And about a week ago, the four people who are going to receive the precepts this evening wrote to me to share their reflections on their adventure with the precepts in the last 2 years. And I was encouraged and inspired in my own practice reading through their letters. And so to begin the introduction to the ceremony this evening, I've woven what they've written into a tapestry. So I'm going to read it now, and it I think expresses everything that I kind of received in those beautiful letters, those beautiful reflections. So thank you very much, Hilary, Mandy, Mary and Shad, who are going to receive the precepts this evening. And this is what I've woven together from your letters. I have been in the precepts group, studying, reflecting on, and practicing with the precepts for almost 2 years. I am now feeling steadfast in my resolve to take the precepts and feeling that I am able to commit wholeheartedly to this step in my practice. Yet some few months ago, when I thought the precept group would continue into another round of study and reflection, I was saying to myself that I was not ready to take the precepts. I planned to continue with further study and practice, hoping then I'd be ready and able to make this commitment. When I learned that the study group would be ending, at least for now, I wanted to be able to take the precepts this December. Could I be ready? Some reflection and practice later, I had a consciousness reset, a light bulb moment. It felt really simple, and from the place where I now stood, it actually seemed obvious. I'd been approaching taking the precepts through old conditioning. This isn't about saying I will now live my life, in thought, word and deed, by precept. That is unrealizable for me, and probably for anyone, and not something I could ever be ready for. The readiness I realized I had is this, to commit to the precepts and the principles they embody, being the guiding stars by which I set my life's course, wholeheartedly. It's taken some time and remains a work in progress to not use the precepts as a yardstick, a reminder for me to find compassion both for others and myself, another practice edge with which to continue to work on, meeting others on equal ground, to see the precepts as gateways through which we can realize mutual human foibles and the compassion, wisdom and joy that connect all human beings. I find myself now looking towards the precepts for support and guidance, reminiscent of the trellis Flint speaks of, asking myself the questions, how can I support life? What's the most appropriate response? How do I remain aware and awake, holding these questions in a compassionate way? I have noticed a softening in myself in relation to the precepts. I no longer feel as rigid about getting it right, and am consequently more understanding and forgiving of others, and paradoxically probably moving nearer to living by vow. I've learnt to hold them as reminders to pay attention to my actions and their impact, and to accept my own flaws and failings and keep returning to my intention. I'm engaged in a process of living in the flow of life as it is and staying as awake as I can to the unfolding. The changes I have experienced these 2 years have felt like the way a stone in the river changes. It has not happened because I was making it happen or trying to achieve a specific goal, but rather a process of engaged surrender. Turning points have been realizing that my life is not for me, and increasing times of experiencing a deep interconnectedness with everything. Living from this embodied experience changes how I am in relation to all beings, not because I am obeying the rules of conduct, but from a profound sense of non-separation. I now experience the liberation of our vow to live and be lived for the benefit of all beings. I've read many fine words in worthy tomes, but the honest, gentle guidance of my friends on the path has meant more to me than all of the reading and research I have done. With the help of my Sangha, I will continue on this journey. The precepts are never done or completed. They are about an orientation of mind, how I view the world and my place in it. This is the way I want to lead my life, with intention, with awareness, accepting my perfect imperfection. I am hugely grateful to the Sangha and the Precepts group organisers, who have so generously supported the Precept study process, particularly them sharing their challenges and vulnerabilities along the way, supporting me to look in the mirror and be a messy miracle. Their unfaltering love and acceptance invaluable, and supportive of my compassion with myself. If I can't find this, it's often an indicator for me I'm caught in small mind or the self-centered dream. In the compassion, I find an opening, a space to approach with a more generous heart. So we're now moving into the ceremony itself. So I'm going to read the first part of the ceremony, and then after that, the four people who are going to receive the precepts will join me, and we'll walk through the ceremony together. Please, dear Sangha and friends, allow yourself to receive this ceremony and these dedicated students with an open heart. Invoking the presence and compassion of our ancestors, in faith that we are Buddha, we enter Buddha's way. Inviting and honouring our ancestors. Homage to all Buddhas in 10 directions. Homage to the complete Dharma in 10 directions. Homage to the endless Sangha in 10 directions. Homage to our first teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Homage to the single being succession of Buddhas and ancestors. Homage to Ehi Dogen Zenji. Homage to Shogaku Shunru Daisho. Homage to Charlotte Joko Beck Daisho. May their presence and compassion sustain us now. Walking the path of the Bodhisattva is accomplished through the spirit and actuality of renunciation. All the Buddha ancestors of the Buddha precept lineage have practiced and are still practicing renunciation of all attachments. Renunciation is an unsurpassable way of harmonizing body and mind with the Buddha way. If we give up attachments, we are free. We are Buddha. To sustain and confirm the practice of the Bodhisattva precepts, for their meaning is in living them, we will now offer you the precepts. In order to be fully awakened in the practice of Buddha's precepts, we start with the pure practice of confession. So, screen share a verse, confession and compassion, or confession and repentance, and if you wish, you can read it along with me. All my ancient tangled karma, from beginningless greed, hate and delusion, born through body, speech and mind, I now fully avow. All our ancient tangled karma, from beginningless greed, hate and delusion, born through body, speech and mind, we now fully avow. All the ancient tangled karma, from beginningless greed, hate and delusion, born through body, speech and mind, all being now fully avows. I'd now like to welcome our students in this order. So first of all, Hilary, and then Mandy, and Mary, and Shad. Hello. It's great to be here with you this evening and to be walking through this together. So, as with many things in this practice, things happen in threes. So each question I will ask you 3 times, and you're invited to reply yes or yes I will to each question. So if you would unmute, please, if you haven't already done that, and I will take you through this beautiful ceremony. You have gone beyond the karma of body, speech and mind, and have been freed from greed, hate and delusion. O good disciple of Buddha, now you may live in the way of the 3 treasures. Even after great liberation, will you continue this truthful practice? And you say,
I will.
You will?
I will.
I will.
You will.
I will.
Now we're going on to taking refuge in the Dharma. We have purified our mind and body. Now you may receive the path of the precepts of the 3 treasures. You are seated with Buddha and are really Buddha's child. Will you receive these precepts?
Yes.
Well, I will.
You will receive them?
Yes.
Yes, I will.
You will?
Yes,
I will.
I will.
We're going to now screen share a verse, the refuges, and if you wish, you can say this with the 5 of us as we say this. I take
Refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma.
I take
I take refuge in Sangha.
I take refuge in Buddha before all being.
Immersing body and mind deeply in the way. Awakening true mind.
I take
refuge in Dharma. Before all being.
Entering
deeply the merciful ocean of Buddha's way.
I take
refuge
in Sangha. Before all being. Bringing harmony to everyone. Free from hindrance.
Now
all being has completely taken refuge in Buddha.
Now
all being has completely taken refuge in Dharma.
Now I have
all being has completely taken refuge in Sangha.
my notes. I should have asked you to mute then, but I thought that was rather beautiful. So there we go. The 3 pure precepts we're moving on to now. You have returned to your original nature, free from attachment and limited ways. From now on, awakening is your teacher. All beings are your teacher. This is the path of mercy for all existence. Do you agree to follow this compassionate path of the 3 treasures?
Yes, I do.
You agree to follow this compassionate path?
Yes, I do.
You do agree?
Yes,
I do.
do.
Now will you receive the 3 pure precepts?
Yes.
Yes, I will.
You will receive them?
Yes.
Yes,
I will.
I will.
Will.
Yes.
Yes,
I will.
I will.
So I'm going to recite each pure precept, and I'm going to ask you to repeat each one after me, please. I vow to refrain from all harming.
I vow to refrain from all harming.
I vow to do what is life-giving.
I vow to do what is life-giving.
I vow to live and be lived for the benefit of all beings.
I vow to live
and
to be lived
for the
for the benefit of
all
all
beings.
beings.
Abiding in the 3 pure precepts, even after great liberation, will you continuously observe them?
Yes.
Yes, I will.
Will you continuously observe the 3 pure precepts?
Yes. I
I
will.
will.
Even after great liberation?
Yes. I will.
Now we're moving on to the 10 grave precepts. Now, will you receive the 10 grave precepts?
Yes. I will.
I will.
Will receive them?
Yes.
Yes, I will.
Well,
Yes.
I will.
so I'm now going to read out the 10 precepts, and I'd invite you to say each phrase after me, please. We'll make our way through these. I vow not to kill or harm that which is living.
I vow not to kill or harm that which is living.
I take up the way of supporting life.
I take up the way of supporting life.
I vow not to steal or take what is not freely given.
I vow not to steal or take what is not freely given.
I take up the way of taking only what is freely given.
I take up the way of taking only what is freely given.
And giving all that I can.
And giving all that I can.
I vow not to misuse sexuality.
I
vow not to misuse sexuality.
Or manipulate others seductively.
Or manipulate others seductively.
I take up the way of engaging in sexual intimacy respectfully.
I take
up the way of engaging in sexual intimacy respectfully.
And with an open heart.
And with an open heart.
I vow not to lie.
I vow not to lie.
And to refrain from deception.
And to refrain from deception.
I take up the way of speaking truthfully.
I take up the way of speaking truthfully.
I vow not to intoxicate mind or body of self or others.
I vow not to intoxicate
mind of self or others.
I take up the way of cultivating a clear mind.
I take up the way
of cultivating a clear mind.
I vow not to slander or allow silence to harm others.
I vow not to slander or allow silence to harm others.
I take up the way of speaking to others with openness and possibility.
I take up the way
of speaking to others with openness and possibility.
I vow not to praise self at the expense of others.
I vow not to praise self at the expense of others.
I take up the way of meeting others on equal ground.
I take up the way
of meeting others on equal ground.
I vow not to harbour anger or ill will,
I vow not to harbour anger or ill will,
or seek vengeance or retribution.
or seek vengeance or retribution.
I take up the way of letting go of anger.
I take up the way
of letting go of anger.
I vow not to grasp what I have,
I
I
vow
vow
not to grasp
what
I have,
or be envious of what I don't.
or be envious of what I don't.
I take up the way of generosity and gratitude.
I take up the way of generosity and gratitude.
I vow not to disparage the three treasures.
I
I
vow
vow
not
not
to
to
disparage
disparage
the
the
three
three treasures.
Abiding according to the 10 grave precepts. I've just missed one line. I'll just go back. I take up the way of the Bodhisattva.
I take up the way of the Bodhisattva.
Abiding according to the 10 grave precepts, even after great liberation, will you continuously observe them?
I will.
Yes, I will.
Will you continuously observe the 10 grave precepts?
Yes,
Yes,
I will.
I will.
After great liberation?
Yes, I will.
So we're coming towards the ending of the ceremony now. You have received Buddha's precepts and are a child of Buddha. Please continue to work for all beings and realize Buddha nature as yourself. You yourself and all beings are the Tathagata. Now, by these acts of invocation, renunciation, confession, purification, taking refuge and receiving the precepts, we become the working basis of the Buddha way. We have become by those actions the ground for the arising of the mind of awakening. Today we remember that we are never separated from Buddha, and we receive this practice path of the precepts as an ongoing reminder and commitment. This practice supports us in becoming a larger and larger container for life. So you will have received an envelope in the post, inside which is a small document. It is a reminder of this ceremony and your vows. Please receive it with my gratitude for your deep and abiding practice. So please mute and open your envelopes now. On the screen, the document that the students, the participants are now opening, I think you'll see it in a moment. On the left, you will see an enso, a Zen circle, and inside the enso, the kanji for way, both offered by Trudy. We use this as a way of expressing just this, the name of our Sangha community. And underneath the writing on the right, you will see my name, and on the document received by the participants, there is a seal containing the 4 kanjis, or symbols, which comprise my name. So I'm now going to read the closing verse, but because I've been following my notes and sometimes I haven't been able to see all the participants, I just want to actually take you in fully. Now we're coming to the very end of the ceremony, and to thank you for your dedication and companionship on this path. It's treasure it very much. So just want to take this moment to really be here with you. So we'll now do the closing verse of the ceremony. which I'll read. We live like a cloud in an endless sky, like a lotus in muddy water, one with the pure mind of Buddha.
It's over to Lynne now to congratulate people.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My heart is always bursting in this ceremony, and I just wanted to say thank you, Josh. One of the things I forgot to say at the beginning is that Josh and Trudy both have COVID, so he's struggling his way through so beautifully holding the ceremony for everybody. And we now have, at the moment, where each person who has received the precepts will be invited up, and there will be a supporter, I don't know what we could call this person, who is going to offer them congratulations and speak very briefly and warmly about their practice. So the first person who is going to be warmly congratulated is Hilary. Hi, Hilary. And
hello.
Hello. Congratulations from me, but the person who is going to speak to you warmly and who has been your body, I think, along the way, quite a long way, is Julia. So Julia is going to speak.
Congratulations, Hilary. It's been a real gift to work with you over the last 2 years. We've shared a lot of time together in retreats, both virtual and real, in breakout rooms, in Nothing Missing, but especially in being your buddy through the Precepts journey. I've seen how Hilary has worked with the Precepts to process many painful events in her life. She's been willing to face difficult situations through the framework of vow. Initially thinking she was not ready to take the precepts, Hilary met her turn to acknowledge that the precepts are not an end to be achieved, but a set of guiding principles, a framework through which to live and meet life. And Hilary, you've shown that very strongly over the months and years that I've known you. I know that you've practiced with great diligence and sincerity. You've been a wonderful Sangha sister. You've shared your compassion, your wisdom, and your curiosity. And you've helped other people on this journey. I know that reaching this stage was not something that was done lightly, but with great integrity and examination of how to live the way of a bodhisattva. And I think that I'm so pleased that you're walking that way. And I am so grateful to be a companion with you along that way. Congratulations.
Thank you. My heart feels very full. Thank you. You've been a great buddy. I'm so glad you've been helping me and walking with me along the way. Thank you. Long may we continue to do so.
Definitely.
And to everybody in the Sangha, it's really felt that spiritual friendship and that walking together. It really opens my heart. Thank you.
I usually end up with a tissue. And I'm sure many of you will too. Yeah. Thank you both. And the next person that we're going to speak to and congratulate and celebrate really is Mandy. And hi Mandy, congratulations. And I have the honour, Mandy, of saying some warm words to you. And I can feel my heart singing as I'm seeing you here, because we've been on this journey together for a little while now. Mandy and I first met in the Sangha in my house in about 2016, so it's a little while ago. And it's been such an honour to accompany you along the way. And I was thinking about, when we first encounter the precepts, we talk about our innermost request. And I think your innermost request must be pretty powerful, because it's kept you here, and you kept staying and staying and staying. And I know that it's not been easy or simple for that to be how it is for you. And I deeply appreciate your steadfastness and your staying with this practice. And I know that, I also really appreciate your generosity. I know that along my own journey, if I have asked someone to support me, then you have been the one that has often put forward a hand and been the one that I know I could rely on to support me too. So you have been and continue to be such a wonderful companion on this path together. And I know from my own experience that you have a very large and compassionate heart. And I know that you are taking the precepts, that in taking the precepts, you have come to a place that I think you will take very deeply and seriously, as I've seen you travelling through the precept journey with others. I know how much you take it into you and meet it in your life. So what a celebration. Congratulations. And it's wonderful that you're here receiving these precepts now. And I feel so grateful to be able to sit here and be the one to celebrate with you. Deeply fills my heart.
I think I might need that tissue right now. Well, thank you so much, Lynne. You've really supported me on this journey too, to kind of get to this place this evening, to feel able to kind of formally take the precepts. Still wasn't convinced I was ready. And I felt like Josh really gave permission in our last precepts meeting, talking about kind of unreadiness. But you've been a wonderful companion on the journey. And I've said it before, Lynne, but I really love you. And I'm so grateful to the Wider Sangha and the Precepts kind of organisers as well. I think mostly for kind of your shared common humanity. It's made it easier for me to kind of, I don't know, accept my kind of faults and failings more graciously, and to kind of, for it to be okay to be me. And I so appreciate this space to be able to just be me. And I'm not sure I can say anymore, but I'm very grateful to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy.
As Flint would say, my eyes are leaking.
Mine too. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, down to you. Gosh. We had this online ceremony last year for the first time, and I know that by the end of it, I was so full up to here. My heart felt so enormous and so full of the care that we have for each other and the way that we support each other. And yeah, and as Flint says, it's all about relationship. So our next person who's going to be celebrated and congratulated with warm words is Mary. And congratulations, Mary. Lovely to see you. And Trudy is going to offer you some wonderful warm words. We'll see how you receive them in your body.
Thank you. Yes, congratulations. And it really is a celebration, I think, of your. It feels like you've dived deep, and I really feel like we started sitting together, and then life took you away for a while, and it feels like the coming back has been with such renewed sort of dedication, and a real deepening of your practice. And I haven't been in the Precepts group with you, but we've talked about them a lot in all our different shared spaces, and my sense of something opening for you through the Precept study, through being in a group, through really the level of self awareness that you want to bring to something, that real capacity to look inside yourself and look outside yourself and weave that together into something that feels like you've reached a place of turning, of saying the practice isn't about me, the practice is about all of us. And I know that forgiveness has flowed for people in your life, and you've used the precepts to navigate your grief and to really be looking at what's this life for you now. And it feels like it's been a scaffolding for that, as well as all the other study and practice that you've done. So I can't think of anyone who's used it better. It's like you feel like such a guide for me about using your practice as a compass. So I'm so grateful that you're my Sangha sister, you're my COVID buddy.
Have you got COVID now?
I think so. Thank you. As Josh said, we share everything. So I just have that kind of just such a deep, deep appreciation and a deep respect for your practice. And that lives through the precepts and in everything that you're offering. So congratulations and celebrations for your amazing wonderfulness.
Thank you. It wouldn't none of it would be happening without you. It's amazing to think what happens when you make things, when you create things. How much comes from it. Yeah, and apart from having COVID, this is actually a very joyful moment. It does feel like a celebration. Celebration of connection and wholeness and everything fitting together in a way that feels just right. Thank you.
Thank you both. Each time I see you, Mary, I want to do that. Congratulations indeed. And thank you, Trudy. COVID buddies. So we now have Shad. And welcome, Shad. Congratulations. Lovely to see you. And Duncan is going to offer you some warm words.
Hello, Shad, and congratulations. It's been a real privilege being your buddy for the last 2 years. Of course, I knew you before, but it's only by being your buddy and working through these precepts that I really got to know you better. And it's been wonderful sort of getting to know you better. I think the first thing that was most obvious to me from the beginning was your sort of tenacity and your drive to grapple and get stuck into the precepts. There was a real spirit of inquiry, what is all this about? And that was quite marked, and it was a joy to behold. So that was wonderful. And then as we sort of work through the precepts, of course, you have to meet them and respond to the challenges that they present. And I was very struck by your courage, the willingness to face difficult things. And that inspired me, seeing you cope with life helped me have the courage to tackle my challenges in life. So thank you for that. That was a real gift. And of course, I've come to realize that you've studied the precepts before with other groups and other traditions in Buddhism. And, I think what became obvious was the way that we study them differently. And it was obvious you appreciated the fact that the way we do it is not just a sort of an academic study or an intellectual exercise. You fully embrace the fact that it's about openness and engaging with ourselves, our feelings, but also our interaction with others too. And it was lovely to see that realization that it's a different way of working with the precepts compared to the way you'd studied precepts with other traditions. So that was great to see as well. And of course, you've also come to this, you emphasized to me the fact that it's an ongoing process. Once you've got it, you realize it's a never-ending process. It doesn't stop. It's a lifelong path, a lifelong vow, a lifelong way of engaging with the world. So that was wonderful too. And then at the very end, I was so blown away by your touching comment and your gratitude, the gratitude that came forth when you said you were so grateful to the Sangha and all the other precept members who'd supported you through the exercises, and valuing the group was a wonderful thing, and the warmth and the kindness and the lovely words you said at the end we're wonderful too. So thank you for all that gratitude too. So I wish you well, Shad. It's been a privilege. And I send my love to you.
Thank you. Ditto. Your openness and your honesty and your willingness. I've learnt so much from you. I have enormous respect for you and the way that you model living by vow. And the common humanity that you have shown and you do show in everything that you do. It's just so beautiful. So I feel very privileged to have had you as a buddy and count you as a friend, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Shad. It's really, thank you.
So who hasn't got a tissue now? Thank you. Thank you both. It's so wonderful to see the relationships that blossom along the way as each person blossoms through the precept process. And the group, has been just, well, all of the groups have been amazing. And I'm always blown away by people's honesty and integrity and ability to meet the difficult things together. And we now come to a place where Jan, I think, is going to open the group to the whole of all the people who are here, and people can offer something to either to each person, whatever they wish to offer. So I'm over to you, Jan, I think.
Thank you, Lynne. Hello, everyone. I'm going to switch on to gallery so that I can see everybody. So it is delightful to see you all here with us tonight. And this next phase is we have some time to continue to bathe in the beauty of this process and sort of the glory, really, of how these four people have stepped forward. And I'd just like to start by saying myself, to Hilary, Mandy, Mary and Shad, I really appreciate your contribution to the groups, turning up every week, offering yourself so sort of authentically, wholeheartedly, showing sides of yourself that you perhaps haven't shown elsewhere. And that has been very heartening and nourishing for me along the way. So I really appreciate what you've offered. And thank you for your contribution to the rest of the group. And it's a delight to witness you taking this vow, feeling, having walked this path, that you felt ready to do it. That feels so heartwarming for me. So thank you very much, the four of you, and congratulations. So now I invite anyone from the group to offer their congratulations to the whole group or to any individual. So please raise your hand if you'd like to offer some words. Mary, did you raise your hand or? Are you just
No.
touching your screen?
I can.
Okay.
Well, if you're asking me to.
Can do if you'd like to. That would be lovely.
Wasn't raising my hand, but I realised I didn't say anything to everybody else when Trudy so beautifully spoke to me earlier. Yeah, I wanted to say thank you to everybody for all the support and connection and learning. And it's just so delightful to be a part of this Sangha and Sanghas. And it's lovely to see everybody here and to know that this is something that's going to be here and unfolding for us to share together. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
I wanted to, after Julia spoke, I didn't know if I was supposed to say anything or just bow. So I kind of felt like I was almost like taking up a lot of space, and I wasn't sure whether I should hurry up and not. And I really wanted to say what I didn't say, which was I am just such gratitude to all of you who have held the Precept group together, the people who have led it, you know, to Lynne, to Jan, to Duncan, to Claire, and just all of you. And I just briefly mentioned the Sangha, but it's such a refuge. It's such an amazing thing that you have offered and that you have created. Yeah, the bringing together of people to share in this way, to grow in this way, to just offer each other such love and compassion and gratitude and all that generosity. It's just amazing, you know, what you're doing. And I just want, and Judy sat there, and I did say thank you too. And to all of you who, you know, organise retreats. And I mustn't forget, my hand will go up again because I'm a bit overloaded at the moment. Josh and Trudy and Catherine, you know, it's just all our teachers. You know, Josh, you're an amazing teacher. And to have done this, you know, whilst you've got COVID, you know, is pretty awesome. Thank you. It's an inspiration. That's it, really. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All of you.
Yeah. You have truly taken refuge in Sangha.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can see that.
Thank you.
I can feel that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hilary. So we have Judy next, please.
Hi, everyone. That's hard act to follow, Hilary. All of your beautiful words about our Sangha. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's here for a really heartwarming evening, and it wouldn't be the same without every single person. I want to say congratulations to the four of you. I'd like to say a particular thank you to Shad for her support and commitment to Nothing Special over the years. And it's lovely to see you, Shad, participating so wholeheartedly in this process. And to Mandy, Mary and Hilary, I've spent really quality time with all of you in person on retreats and in online retreats, and you've all made such valuable contributions to just this. You know, I've experienced that particularly on the retreats because that's when I've spent time with you, and
and all of you, your commitment and generosity has been so clear to me and really warmed my heart. So I'm really pleased to have witnessed this evening you taking the precept. It's been really beautiful. So congratulations again to all of you.
Thank you, Judy. Beautiful, warm words. Really recognising the contribution these 4 people have made to our Sangha. Thank you. So there's still some time if anybody else would like to offer a few words. Maria?
Hi, yeah, I'd just like to say I'm just watching this, looking at this mosaic on screen of us all. You know, I mean, I've been travelling the Precepts journey since it began, like over the last 8 years, I think, is it, Jan?
It is 8 years, yes.
8 years.
You are one of the ones, Maria.
One of the
conception.
And just seeing everybody through over the years and all traveling together, and there's like this mosaic on screen. I'm just thinking if the middle square dropped out, it would fall in, and it kind of feels like we're all holding this mosaic up together, you know. And there's something about this journey that we can't do it alone, you know. And I've come into contact with all 4 of the people that are doing the precepts today, and the way we all support each other and hold each other up is just so, it's something I've never seen before in any kind of group, and the love and care that each and every one of you has shown. And it is the things we go through, the challenges, the mirrors that get held up to us, and it takes courage. It takes courage to stay on this path and to not turn away. And all 4 of you have kept turning towards, no matter what, you keep turning towards. And it's just such a wonderful, inspiring thing to see, you know, how we all keep turning towards together, and how we all support each other to do that. And the uncomfortableness and the disturbances we get, you know, when we face each precept, it's like a disturbance that we get, and it's like, oh, you know, because things are coming up, and then we turn towards it together and then walk through that and then settle, and then there's another disturbance. You know, the richness and the teachings that we get in each disturbance that comes up. But to be on this path with you all has been one of the most wonderful, special things. I'm going to get emotional now.
Yeah.
But it's just been, you know, so rich. And each and every one of you have contributed in such massive ways to my own journey. And hopefully I've been a little bit of use back. But, you know, it's just incredible. It's just an incredible thing. And I love each and every one of you. And, you know, it's about not taking for granted what we all offer each other, you know, and the companionship, the friendship, the guidance, you know, it's a two-way thing. You know, we support and help each other. And yeah, I've never seen anything like it in such a rich, continuing way. And thank you to everyone that helps and supports keep it that's kept it going for this long. I mean, 8 years is a long time to continue a program for, and it takes a lot of commitment and dedication, and look at the rewards are just incredible. And so congratulations to all 4 of you, beautiful people, inspiring people that keep turning towards. And yeah, huge appreciation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Maria. Such words of gratitude. I'm very touched. And just your expression, the description of the mosaic and the process and the turning towards, you just describe it really beautifully. And indeed, I think that the group was a very precious space where I know that my development has really benefited. So we have now 2 other people so Ra, would you like to unmute and step forward?
I'd like to say thank you to you all for sharing your commitment here. And I'd like to offer my support to you all in your practice, through my practice. And yeah, thank you to everyone here. I continue to feel incredibly grateful for how this Sangha supports me to somehow be with life as it is. Yeah. And I'm particularly grateful for how we really keep emphasizing that we support each other.
Thank you, Ra. Yeah, it's very hard to describe fully the experience of how important that support is to us. Thank you, Ra. So Catherine, would you like to unmute and offer your words?
I want to say, first of all, thank you for a very beautiful ceremony. I feel it's been very precious to come and share this time. And I feel kind of recalled to the precepts and recalled to my own sanity, which is very lovely. I want to express huge appreciation to Jan and Lynne and Duncan and Claire. The commitment that you've shown over the years to the precept classes is truly remarkable, and I really honour you for it. It's no easy thing to sustain a group and keep committing yourself time after time after time. I think all of you have been a huge inspiration. And I want to thank, from Nothing Special, I want to thank Shad for her constancy towards Nothing Special. Ever since she joined Nothing Special, I think there are very few Mondays and Fridays that Shad hasn't been with us and hasn't given us some part of herself, some contribution. And I really want to appreciate that. And to Mary and Hilary and Mandy, don't know you so very well, but in a way I feel I do, because I've seen you in the Lancaster retreats, and I've seen the attention to detail and that you have shown, and the care for the detailed running of the retreat and the wish to serve that. And I honour you for that, and thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for your kind words about the way in which the group has been held. And it is my intention to say a few words about the history of the group when we've had everyone who wants to step forward, because I feel it's very important to honour the 8 years that we've travelled together. But if anybody else would like to step forward.
I just wanted to say I felt really inspired by the 4 of you that came forward today and took the precepts, and it feels quite special to have watched it, because I travelled on the Precepts journey with you all as well, and have spent time with each of you in breakout rooms. So I do feel inspired, and congratulations, and thank you as well, because you've all played a part in my experience, and as does the whole Sangha. It's such a special group and a kind of way marker for my weeks. And it's yeah, even though it's sometimes the work we do can be challenging, but it's an oasis as well, and always brings calm. So thanks, and thank you for the organisers too. I'm glad that you'll be talking about the history a bit, Jan, because getting those emails and everything always being organised for me, and I feel spoiled, but thank you. Thanks everyone.
Oh, thank you, Helen. It's lovely to hear that you feel inspired by watching others taking the vow. It's a truly lovely thing to witness. Okay, so yeah, we thought that it would be a good idea to just take a few minutes to just honour the fact that it has been going for 8 years, and actually to just name how it started, because in a way it was no great big plan. It was in 2015 I had a conversation with Josh and said, I really want to study the precepts, but there's no group. And Josh said, well, start one. It's just like, what do you mean just start one? He said, well, just start one. So I was very taken aback and very shocked, and I said, well, we need a group of us to do this. So I busily consulted Lynne and Duncan, and we three formed the sort of the group that would lead, the group that would facilitate the first sort of precepts group. We did not know what we were doing. You know, it's often been coined as, you know, 3 clowns on a bus, driving the bus. So we started in 2015 with the 3 of us at the front of the bus and about 12 other people. We couldn't have started without the support of Josh, his wholehearted trust in us and support of us along the way. We've had a few bumps, not that many actually, but at the beginning it was a little bit more bumpy as we tried to find our way. We had a framework from Appamada, which helped us considerably. You know, that was the framework we followed. And it's really important to say that at the very beginning, Maria was the other person as well that was at the very beginning on that bus and has stayed with us the whole 8 years. But the way that we sort of envisaged it was that we would travel on the bus and people could get off the bus as the process went along, but no new people could get on the bus till the bus stopped again at the end of one set of study period. So we trundled along for our first 2 years, and we decided, we didn't know at the beginning it was going to be 2 years, because actually we didn't know what it was going to feel like to study the precepts. And we very quickly, as a group, decided we needed more than 1 month, which is the Appamada way of studying the process at the precepts. We wanted to have 2 months per precept, because we wanted to really study ourselves. We really wanted to notice what we do. And we felt that, you know, having 2 months to do that and 2 opportunities to come into the group and explore it. So the program transformed into from a 1 year to a 2 year program, which is quite a big commitment for people to make. But we felt the feedback that we were getting was that 2 years was actually, it was really important. At the beginning, perhaps people didn't realize, but when we got into it and people experienced it, they felt that actually you needed that amount of time, because this is complex stuff. And, you know, it's like skating on thin ice. And so you need to go slowly and carefully. And yeah, that was one of the big changes that we decided that we would spend 2 months on each precept. Another addition that we brought in after the first 2 years was we had the idea that we would invite Flint to record little sound bites of the precepts, because he was in the background supporting us, but he wasn't along the journey with us. And so we invited him to do these little sound bite videos that we played at the beginning of each session. And that was really, really helpful. We felt that Flint was with us. He gave us some really poignant words to sit with in the sessions. And it meant that when we came to the end of the program, we felt connected to Flint for him to actually do the ceremony. I think it's really important, you know, that over the time, the group that was a little bit bumpy at the beginning, we came to a place of such a sense of trust and safety that I really felt and saw and witnessed, myself included, an opening up and people sharing not only their sort of their wholesome activities, as Flint puts it, but their unwholesome activities, and being really authentic. And I feel that has been really important to allow people to go deeper, to dive deep, as Trudy said before, and supporting each other to do that authentically has been absolutely key. I need to also mention that that Lynne's input has really steered us into embracing a more embodied approach to studying the precepts, and as a result of that, we brought in a lot more emphasis in using this self-study approaches of IFS and Hakomi, and we worked, Lynne and I really enjoyed developing really interesting Hakomi and experiential activities that people could engage in that would really allow them to dive deeper. And so that was a really enjoyable process for myself, and I think for Lynne. It proved such a popular and inviting group that we actually started some daytime groups, and Lynne led a daytime group in Lancaster and also a small group in Preston. So, you know, in 1 month, Lynne was actually attending 3 precepts groups. So it was an amazing amount of commitment for Lynne to do that. So I really appreciate the way that she did that. The other thing that we did is we had our 2 core texts, and we started to develop weaving in other teachers and other texts. And we started to listen to other teachers talking about the precepts as well as Flint. And I think that really enriched the experience. And especially as quite a lot of people stayed on the bus. You know, people after 2 years, you can get off the bus. But people chose to stay on the bus, and so came for 4 years or 6 years because actually they felt that they wanted to meet the precepts again. In 2020, you know, everything changed with COVID, and we didn't know how we were going to do precepts online. But we found a way, and we modified all the exercises, and we changed the schedule, and we worked out how people would go into breakout rooms so that they could work in a really intimate way with each other. And people's commitment to supporting us through that as we had teething, you know, difficulties, but we made it work. And what was so glorious is it enabled us then to open the group across the whole of the UK. And at that point, although Claire had been joining us on the precepts in Lancaster when we were in person, she used to join on her phone every month. What it meant was that Claire could join us more wholeheartedly on an equal basis with everybody else. And we invited, were there any more clowns that wanted to come to the front of the bus and help lead? And Claire raised her hand, which was such a delight to have Claire with us at the front of the bus. And then in this final turn of the Precepts, the 21-22 program, it's been wonderful to have so many people from across the UK, and even Claudine from Switzerland joined us, and it really has enhanced the Precepts study, and I think really added some glue, I think, to the Sangha as a whole, to the Just This Sangha. It's helped to sort of bring together and weave together the Sanghas across the country. So yeah, the program's run 4 times, so I thought it would be really interesting to just tot up how many people have joined us on the journey, and to my reckoning, it's over 55 people have been on the bus. They might not have stayed the whole time on the bus, but at some point they have had a period of time, they have joined us on that bus, on that journey, and it's really heartening to look back and recognise that so many people chose to join us. And of that 55, 21 people have actually taken the precepts, have actually taken the vow, and that's again so heartening that so many people felt able to step forward and take the vow. And then now, after today, we have another 4 joining that. So we have 25 people who have taken the precepts as a result of this beautiful program. So my final words are of gratitude to Lynne and Duncan and Claire for the truly collaborative way in which we've worked together, which has just been a joy. The massive support from Josh in steering us, and as Josh took over from taking the precepts, actually before that, he would come to a number of the precept groups through the years, so that he was in contact with who was on the journey, joining in the activities and really feeling what the process was about. So I'm really grateful to Josh. And it's been such a rich learning experience for me, and I think for everybody on the journey. So thank you for listening, but I felt it was perhaps interesting to you to know some of that history if you didn't know. And yeah, it is a little bit of sad heart that we come to the end of this Precept program, and but it's a pause. You know, who knows what will happen in the future, and we're sort of looking and thinking there might be some space for something else to come forward. And I think Claire's going to join me now and say a few words about what might come next, and any other words that she might want to add to what I've said.
Thanks, Jan. Yeah, thank you for such a beautiful for shining a spotlight on the Precepts group and how it's been over these 8 years, and some of the turns in the spiral. I was also reflecting about how much change I've experienced, and I know a lot of people have experienced as the result of this practice. And I know I'm always struck by the image Flint uses a lot of a spiral, and about when we're engaging beginner's mind, especially, we're never just going back around. You know, if you stay on the bus and you're engaging with the material again, it's never the same, because you're different and things land with you differently, and it's a deepening turn of the spiral. And I think you've also pointed to that really well in all of the changes in the structure of the group over the years. Like, that's a huge amount of change. And another 2 ways in which the group evolved, which I think have been really important for us. One was the turn from a study group to a practice group, and that we really felt that that was naming something that had really already happened, that we were never about, as Duncan pointed to, an intellectualized, heady engagement with the precepts. It was always grounded, helped by Lynne, in the embodied practice of daily life and what is happening physically for us in that moment. And so shifting our language about how we spoke about the precepts group really supported us to be more intimate with that. And then also the integrating our sitting practice into the group, I think has also been a really significant evolution, and felt really right and really supported our practice in our time together. And then, like others, I think I'm so appreciative of the spiritual friendship and the commitment that everybody has shown to the practice, and the vulnerability that everyone has offered, and how everyone held the space for each other. I would quite often come quite tired sometimes, not necessarily thinking, oh, this is what I would love to do on a Thursday evening. And I would always be glad that I'd come. I would always leave with more energy than when I had arrived. It was always worth it. And the connection that I felt with everyone has always been very sustaining. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to you, Jan and Duncan and Lynne and Maria and Josh, for helping this come into existence. And thank you to the 55 people who have participated. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, as Jan says, in good Buddhist fashion, this is the end, but it's not really the end. It's both. We don't know what will come next. We know there will be something. We're keen to keep some of the aspects that everyone has found so valuable and important, keep the embodied practice, keep the spiritual friendship, the time to connect with each other, and see how that wants to express itself. And so what we said at the end of the last evening of practice together was, don't watch this space, let us know where the energy is, and let's all follow the energy together and see where it takes us. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Thank you.
I realise it's getting late, and I think my little slot has been left out. So I have two words: oh wow. And at our in-person day, our Nothing Missing Day on the 21st of January, to which you're all warmly invited, we will be celebrating and having a presentation for all the 4 wonderful people who have created this beautiful community. And if any of them can't make it, we will bring them in somehow with the technology at our disposal. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Josh.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. We vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. We vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. We vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. This vow frees them all. Delusions are inexhaustible. This vow ends them all. Dharma gates are boundless. This vow enters them all. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. This vow embodies it. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here, for participating wholeheartedly in a beautiful ceremony of our Sangha. Final congratulations to Shad, Mary, Mandy and Hilary. And thank you so much again, Lynne, Duncan, Jan, and especially Trudy and Josh for all of the preparation for making this evening possible. Thank you. And if anyone, feel free now to unmute to say goodbye to everybody.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Love you all. Bye.
Go well.
Bye.
Love. Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Yes. Look after your precious selves.